In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at my KDP income report for the month of February. Now, this video is also part of a playlist where I've shared all of my KDP income reports since starting back in 2018. And if you'd like to check them out, I will leave a link down in the description to that playlist. Now, February ended up being quite a good month for me, as you're going to see later on in the video. But first of all, let's take a look at my lifetime account from selling my low content books. Now, over lifetime, I've now made $157,000 and I have 4,086 books. Now, if we just quickly scroll down all the way to the bottom to round about here, we can see that $157,000 in earnings in royalties is because I've now sold close to 80,000 books. That's since starting back in 2018. We can now see that my best-selling book ever has sold 8,643 units, making $17,500. My second bestseller has now sold 6,552, making $16,303. Then my fourth bestseller, nope, that's my third bestseller, has sold 4,588, making close to $11,000. My fourth bestseller has now made $9,350, selling 4,630. So I'm almost close to breaking 4 books which have made me over $10,000 each, which is still absolutely crazy. Now, let's go back up to the top, to roundabout here, and let's start going into my income report for the month of February. But before we go ahead and do that, I am going to plug my own course. Now, we do have a course all about low content book publishing. We have a free course about creating covers, and I do have a newsletter. Now, if you want to go ahead and check this out, there will be a link down in the description below. Now, on to the month of February. Like I said, February was a pretty good month, but it was not all profit, as I was running ads quite aggressively. So later on in the video, we're going to take my royalties just here and then deduct my ad spend to see how much I earned. Now, for the month of February, I earned in royalties $7,241. Now, the main reason for this is because of Valentine's Day. So most years I have a few Valentine's Day books that do extremely well. This year they did pretty well as well. One did better than the other, but I was also running ads quite aggressively. So for the month of February, I earned $7,241.21. Now, if we take a look here, my best day was just here, February the 10th, where I earned $648. I actually had quite a few days, 6 days where I earned above $600 in royalties every single day. But I was running ads aggressively, and I was running ads with about $100 a day in ad spend. Now, that's my best day. My lowest day, obviously it tapered off after Valentine's Day, and then my lowest day was probably one of these. Let's go with this one, where I earned $49. Now, if we change this to units, we can see that that best day is because I sold 361 units in one day, and then my lowest day I sold round about 23. Now, let's change this back to earnings and let's go through this page. Now, right here we can see from this little pie chart that half of my sales came from one book and a quarter of my sales came from another book. Again, it's because I had a few Valentine's Day books that did extremely well. Now, if we go to here, we can see that 88% or 88.5 of my sales came from Amazon.com, 7.2 8% from here in the UK, 3.6% from over in Canada, and then just a little bit in other marketplaces. If we change that to earnings, that's 6,400 on Amazon.com, 522 here in the UK, 259 in Canada, and then again just a few little royalties in other marketplaces. Now if we scroll all the way down to roundabout here, we can see my earnings for each book. So I sold 3,874 units in February, and that's made me the $7,241.21. Now if we look here at my best book for the month of February, I sold 2,282 units of that book, making $3,607. Again, this was a Valentine's Day book. Same with my second bestseller, just here. So now that Valentine's Day has been and gone, obviously all these sales for these two books have almost completely stopped. I am still getting a couple here and there for some reason, but nonetheless, these are seasonal books, so I probably won't make this much again on these books until this time next year. Now the second one I sold 725, making 1,778. My third bestseller is one of my adult colouring books where I sold 236 units, making $481.44. Now this book and the one below it are all organic sales. I can't run ads on these books because there's profanity in some form or another on the front covers. And when you have profanity or anything like that on the front covers, you are not allowed to run ads. So these two, under my two bestsellers for the month, is all organic sales. Now the fourth one, which again is one of my adult colouring books, I sold 166 units, making 332. And then this one, the one below that, my fourth bestseller, or should I say my fifth, I sold 142, making 327. Now this one was also a Valentine's Day book as well. Now let's just do this one where I sold 64 units, making $170. This is a brand new book of mine, which I recently published, and it's actually doing pretty well. I am running ads on this book, but they're not performing very well at the minute. Now, let's go back up to the top to roundabout here, because like I said, not all of this $7,000 was all profit because I was running ads. So let's go over to my ads manager and start taking a look and deduct my ad spend from these royalties. So over lifetime of my account, my Amazon.com, this is the main one where I run ads. I did run ads here in the UK over Christmas time, but I've completely stopped that now. But over lifetime of my account, I've now spent $28,000, or just over. Now, to put that into perspective, that's since 2019, just here. So I've spent the $28,000 over lifetime of my account or advertising account. But that $28,000 in ad spend has now made $109,000 in sales. That's not royalties. I'd love it to be, but it's not. Then my ACOS looking a lot better. I've brought this down a lot over the last month because of those Valentine's Day books, but my ACOS around 26.2% over lifetime, and I've had 12,551 orders through my ads on Amazon.com. Now, if we quickly add metrics, just here we can see that I've had over 19 million impressions, 132,000 clicks, and on average it's costing me around 22 cents per click. Now, let's change this to last month, to February, so we can see how much I spent. Now, like I said, I was running ads quite aggressively, but that's because my ads were performing extremely well. So for the month of February is the best month I've ever had when running my ads. But that's because I had a couple of good books and there's just such a huge amount of traffic traffic meaning people over on Amazon in the Valentine's Day niche. Now we can see that for February I spent $1,395 doing over 12,000 in sales. That's almost 13,000 with a really low ACOS of 10.75. Again, I think this is my best month ever with advertising. Now everything that I've been doing with my ads over the last few months, even to get these results, I've shared within the LCB Vault. That's our course, which I said is linked down in the description. So if you're interested in seeing what I've actually been doing with my ads, again, I share absolutely everything. I share tips and tricks. I share how I optimize my ads, how I scaled them as well. So again, if you're interested, there will be a link down in the description. Now for orders, I had 1,455. If we go on to ad metrics, we can see that I had 1.1 million impressions, over 10,000 clicks, and my cost per click was pretty low as well, with only 13 cents. Now if we take a look at some of these just here, we can see with this one I spent 253 doing almost 3,000 in sales, but look at that ACOS, 8.74. Look at this one, 6.3, 11.5, 9.3. So this is why I was running ads quite aggressively, just because all the ads that I was running was performing extremely well. So if we go back to here, we can see on these days I was spending $100 there, 111, 123, 112 and $100 there, and these days as well. I also think that that's the most days in a row where I've spent $100 a day just on ads, which was also pretty nerve-wracking, but as you can see, I got some pretty good results. So let's go ahead and deduct my ad spend from my royalties. Now I've already got the royalties plugged into a calculator just here, where it was $7,241.21. Now let's deduct that 1,395.2%. Let's go back over to here, and now let's see what my profit was for the month, and it was $5,846. So this is actually one of the best months that I've had in a while, along with Christmas. So if we go back over to here, we can see that for the month of February, this was my second best month ever. And we can see it's very similar to the previous year. So in 2021, in December, I did 6,400, and then in the February, I did 7,100. Now, the year just gone, in December, I did 6,900, and then in February, 7,200. Now, again, I'm extremely happy with these results, but now for the month of March, I expect these to drop rapidly. Well, not rapidly, but to drop a lot. Again, because in February, I had my Valentine's Day books do extremely well, and then obviously December was also Christmas. And now in March, I don't really have many books that tend to pop off, so this month I'll probably do $2,000 to $3,000, but we're going to have to see how it goes. Now, if you liked this video, then don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Also, go ahead and hit subscribe if you haven't already. And if you'd like to see the rest of my KDP income reports that go all the way back to 2018, then click right here and watch this playlist.